The great doors of the heavenly throne room open. Cleopatra enters. The last great queen of ancient Egypt walks slowly down the enormous marble aisle, surrounded by silent angels. She wears the royal dignity of a woman who once commanded a kingdom, spoke to kings as an equal, and fought desperately to preserve her throne. But there is no Egyptian army here. No palace, no Alexandria, no Roman legion, only the throne, and upon it sits Jesus. Cleopatra stops. For perhaps the first time in her life, there is no political calculation that can change what happens next.
Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, you were born into power. You fought to keep it. You used intelligence, alliances and influence to survive men who wanted your kingdom. Tell me, when you stood at the edge of losing everything, what were you really fighting to save? Egypt, your dynasty, or yourself?
My kingdom. Do not confuse ambition with selfishness. Egypt was not merely a crown upon my head. It was my people's home. My family had ruled it for generations. When enemies came for my throne, they were not simply coming for Cleopatra. They were coming for Egypt. I did what a queen was expected to do. I survived.
Then let us begin with your family. You were born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a dynasty descended from Macedonian Greeks who had ruled Egypt for generations. You inherited wealth, you inherited a throne, but you also inherited something else, a family that was willing to destroy itself for power.
Cleopatra VII was born in Alexandria around 69 BC into the Ptolemaic dynasty. Her family ruled Egypt after the death of Alexander the Great and the division of his empire. The Ptolemies possessed enormous wealth, but their dynasty was filled with rivalry. Cleopatra's father, Ptolemy XII, faced political instability and eventually had to leave Egypt. When he died, Cleopatra inherited the throne alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. She was still a teenager, and already, the struggle for Egypt had begun.
You were made co-ruler with your younger brother, but you soon discovered that sharing a throne was not the same as sharing power. What happened?
The people around my brother wanted control. They wanted a young king they could manipulate. I would not become their puppet, so I acted. I had a kingdom to govern. If I had surrendered because I was a woman, because I was young, or because my enemies were powerful, Egypt would have been ruled by those who had no loyalty to it.
Cleopatra's relationship with her brother deteriorated. She was eventually forced from Alexandria and gathered an army to challenge the faction controlling her brother. Then, history gave her an unexpected opportunity. Rome had entered Egypt. And the Roman general who arrived in Alexandria was not an ordinary Roman. His name was Julius Caesar.
You were losing. Your brother's forces controlled Alexandria. Then Julius Caesar arrived. You needed him. So tell me, Cleopatra, did you see Caesar as an ally, or did you see him as the weapon that could restore your throne?
Both. A wise ruler does not pretend that politics is friendship. Caesar had power. I needed power. He needed Egypt. We understood one another. If I had refused to deal with him because I wanted my hands to remain politically clean, I would have lost my kingdom. I chose survival.
Cleopatra secretly arranged to meet Caesar. According to the famous ancient account, she was brought into Caesar's presence, concealed in a rolled carpet or bedding. When she emerged, she was face to face with the most powerful Roman in Egypt. It was a calculated gamble, but it worked. Caesar became her ally. The conflict with Ptolemy XIII escalated into war, and Cleopatra's political future became tied to Rome.
You understood Caesar's power. You also understood his attraction to you. Did you use that relationship to gain political advantage?
I will not pretend I was unaware of the power I possessed. Caesar was a man. I was a woman who knew how to command attention, but he did not restore my throne simply because I was beautiful. He saw intelligence. He saw political usefulness. He saw an Egypt worth preserving. And I saw a Roman powerful enough to help me survive.
And you became Caesar's partner. You bore him a son, Caesarion. Yet your alliance with Rome did not end your political ambitions. It strengthened them.
After the Alexandrian War, Cleopatra returned to power. She became the dominant ruler of Egypt, formerly sharing the throne with another younger brother, before eventually ruling alongside her son Caesarion. Her relationship with Caesar produced a son. Cleopatra later traveled to Rome and remained there for a time, but Rome was changing. Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC, and suddenly Cleopatra's greatest Roman ally was dead.
When Caesar died, you lost the man who had protected your position. Did you fear that your kingdom would fall next?
Of course I feared it. A queen who does not understand danger is not a queen for long. Rome had become divided. Caesar was dead. His assassins were alive. His heirs were rising. And Egypt stood between competing Roman powers. I could not simply wait for Rome to decide my fate. I needed another alliance.
That alliance came in the form of Mark Antony. After Caesar's death, Rome entered another period of civil war. Mark Antony emerged as one of the most powerful men in the Roman world. Cleopatra met him at Tarsus. She arrived in spectacular fashion, presenting herself as a queen worthy of the attention of a Roman power broker. Antony was captivated, but their relationship was more than romance. It became a political partnership.
You had Caesar, then Antony, two of the most powerful Roman men of your generation. Some would say you used powerful men to protect your throne. What do you say?
I say those men were not children. Caesar knew exactly what he wanted. Antony knew exactly what he wanted. They were generals. They commanded armies. They understood politics. If they chose to stand beside me, it was because they believed Egypt mattered. Do not reduce my political intelligence to seduction. I negotiated with Rome. I did not merely marry it.
But your relationship with Antony eventually became a threat to Rome itself. You supported him. You provided resources. You stood beside him while he fought Octavian. Did you understand what would happen if Antony lost?
Yes, I knew the risk. But what alternative did I have? Octavian wanted dominance. Antony was powerful enough to resist him. If Antony won, Egypt could remain independent. If Octavian won, Rome would come for us. I chose the side I believed could protect Egypt.
Cleopatra and Antony became increasingly intertwined. They had children together and built a powerful political partnership, but Octavian turned their relationship into a weapon. Roman propaganda portrayed Cleopatra as a foreign queen who had corrupted Antony and threatened Rome. The coming conflict was no longer simply about Egypt. It was about who would control the Roman world.
Octavian accused you of corrupting Antony. He presented you as a foreign queen, manipulating a Roman general. Was there truth in his accusation?
Octavian needed a villain. I was convenient. A foreign queen. A woman, a monarch with wealth, a lover of Antony. He could turn me into a symbol of everything Rome was supposed to fear. But ask yourself this, why was Rome so afraid of Egypt? Because Egypt was wealthy. Because Alexandria was powerful. Because I was not willing to kneel before Rome without a fight.
And then came Actium, the battle that would determine your fate. You and Antony faced Octavian. You had ships, you had resources, you had everything you could gather. Yet you lost.
When you realized the war was lost,
did you think of your people? Or did you think of your own death?
Both. I knew what Roman victory meant. My kingdom would be taken. My children could become prisoners. My dynasty would end. And I knew what Octavian intended to do with me. He would parade me through Rome as a trophy. I would not allow that. Not after everything I had fought for.
You fought until the end. You refused to be paraded through Rome. You chose death rather than humiliation. Was that courage or pride?
It was dignity. There are some things a ruler must never surrender. My enemies could take my kingdom. They could take my wealth. They could take my life. But I would not give Octavian the satisfaction of turning me into a spectacle. If you call that pride, then perhaps I was proud.
You were intelligent. You spoke languages. You understood diplomacy. You knew how to use wealth, symbolism, and political alliances. You accomplished what many rulers could not. But tell me, what did your intelligence make you?
It made me difficult to defeat. I was born into a dangerous family. I watched people around me fight over the throne. I learned quickly that intelligence was more useful than strength. I could not command the largest army, so I learned to command attention. I negotiated. I calculated. I adapted. And for years, it worked.
For years. But eventually, it did not. Your alliances failed. Your armies failed. Your kingdom fell. Your dynasty ended. What remained?
My legacy. You say my kingdom ended. But thousands of years later, people still speak my name. They remember my intelligence, my beauty, my ambition, my relationships with Caesar and Antony. They remember the queen who refused to disappear quietly. Rome conquered Egypt. But Rome could not erase Cleopatra.
Legacy is not the same as righteousness. A name can survive for thousands of years and still stand guilty before God. You were given intelligence, influence, wealth, a kingdom. What did you do with what you were given?
I protected what I inherited. I fought for Egypt. I supported its economy. I ruled when others wanted to control me. I did not choose the world into which I was born. I did not choose Rome. I did not choose the ambitions of Caesar or Antony. But I chose to fight, and I would make that choice again.
You fought fiercely. But you also placed survival above everything. You manipulated alliances. You entered relationships that served political purposes. You used your influence to preserve your throne. You became so determined to remain queen that you could not imagine life without the crown.
Because without the crown, I could not protect my people. You speak as though surrender was noble. I knew what happened to defeated rulers. I knew what Rome did to its enemies. I knew what would happen to my children. Perhaps I made mistakes. But I will not apologize for fighting to preserve what was mine.
And that is where your judgment lies. Not in your intelligence, not in your beauty, not in your political skill, but in what you allowed ambition to become. You were capable of great wisdom, but you were also capable of placing your own survival above truth. You learned how to control kingdoms, but not always how to control your desires.
Cleopatra looks toward Jesus. There is no Roman army behind her now. No Caesar, no Antony, no palace, no crown. Only the woman herself, the queen who once stood at the center of Mediterranean politics, is now standing before the King of Kings, and for the first time, there is no alliance left to negotiate.
Cleopatra, you were intelligent. You were courageous. You fought against circumstances that would have destroyed many others. You protected your kingdom for as long as you could, but you also allowed power and survival to become the measure of your decisions. You placed your trust in political strength. You believed that if you could remain powerful, you could remain secure. But kingdoms fall, crowns disappear, empires change hands, and no ruler can save herself forever. Therefore, my verdict is this: you are not condemned for being powerful. You are judged for what you chose to do with that power. Yet you showed courage, wisdom, and a willingness to sacrifice yourself rather than surrender others to your enemy. For that reason, I will not condemn you. You are granted mercy. But remember this: the greatest victory is not keeping a throne. It is learning when to surrender it.